The sky above Outpost 9 was dull and yellow, always full of dust. The air was dry, and everything smelled of rust and burned fuel. Traders shouted, engines roared. But today, no one spoke. They all stood still, gathered around a tall steel pole. In the center of the square, tied to that pole, was a young alien girl. Her skin was silver blue, like moonlight on water. Her white hair clung to her bruised face, and her eyes, deep violet, stared at the ground. Her arms were bound behind her. Her legs trembled, barely able to hold her weight. A metal sign hung above her head, for loving a human. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. But something inside her was breaking. Guards stood nearby with plasma rifles. One of them, a tall alien officer, shouted, "Let all races see, this is what happens to traitors, to those who break the law of blood." People looked, some in fear, some in anger, but most looked away. No one wanted to get involved. And then, a man stepped forward. He wore a long, dusty coat and an old military badge. His hair was messy, his face half covered in beard stubble. He didn't look strong, or rich, or important. But there was something in the way he walked, like he wasn't afraid of anything. He stopped in front of the alien girl. She lifted her head slowly and looked at him. Her eyes widened in shock. Her lips moved, but no sound came. It was him, the human boy she had once saved. Now, he was grown and standing before her like a ghost from her past. The guards moved to block him. "Keep walking." "Citizen," one of them said. "This girl is under sentence, no contact." But the man didn't move back. Instead, he reached into his coat and pulled something out. A small round medallion, old, scratched, and heavy. The alien officer saw it and froze. So did the guards. It was a Unity War Medal, given only to those who had saved more than 1,000 lives during the Galactic War. The officer clenched his jaw. "This does not concern. She saved me," the man said, loud and clear. "Back when I was just a boy, hiding under the ruins of my school, when your ships bombed our cities. She pulled me out and carried me to the evac zone. She didn't care about blood or borders. She just helped." No one spoke. The crowd listened in silence. The man stepped closer to the girl and looked into her eyes. "And now they tie you to a pole? For loving someone like me?" Tears filled her eyes. Officer growled, "You're interfering with a lawful sentence." "She's coming with me." The man said, "No, she's not." The officer shouted. He raised his rifle. "Step away," or, before he could finish, the man stepped aside, revealing a drone floating behind him, small, but armed. Its red light locked onto the officer's chest. "If one shot is fired," the man warned, "this drone sends your record to the Galactic Council, with full footage, including the sign, including the crowd." The officer's hand shook. He knew the Council still monitored Outpost 9. A violation like this public punishment, based on emotion, was illegal under interspecies law. "Untie her," the officer barked to the guards. Now, the girl fell forward as the ropes came loose, but the man caught her. She was light in his arms, too light. Her body had been without food or water for days. Her silver skin was cold. He turned and walked away, carrying her past the crowd. No one stopped him. Not a word was spoken. But behind him, someone whispered, "He's just made enemies of an entire world." The human didn't care. He held her close as he stepped into the shadows of the docking bay. As he laid her in the corner of his small ship, he saw a deep burn mark on her back, a mark that wasn't there the last time he saw her. It was shaped like a broken heart, branded into her skin. He clenched his fists. "They'll pay for this," he whispered. "Every single one." The engines of the ship rumbled to life. Outside, guards radioed unknown orders. Sirens began to scream, but the ship lifted, disappearing into the dusty sky. And below, the people at the pole stood quietly, wondering who that man was and what the girl meant to him. They were about to find out. The ship shook as it broke through the dry sky above Outpost 9. Inside, the girl lay still on the narrow medbed, her wrists marked with cuts, her silver skin now pale like ice. The man sat beside her, hands dirty with engine grease and old blood. He didn't speak. He just watched her chest rise and fall, slow and uneven. Her breath sounded like it was coming through a cracked mask. Then, her lips moved. He leaned closer. Jace. His name, she remembered. He gently held her hand, careful not to touch the raw burns on her wrist. Her fingers twitched. I'm here, he said softly. You're safe now. But she shook her head. No one is safe, not anymore. The ship beeped, signaling entry into deep space. The colony was far behind them. But the danger wasn't. Jace began to clean the wounds, moving like someone who'd done this before on battlefields. In back alleys, in refugee camps. He wasn't always a pilot. Once, he was a child hiding in the rubble of a burning Earth outpost. And this alien girl, had picked him up when her own people had left him to die. She hadn't even looked at his species or rank or age. She had just carried him. He never forgot that. Now, as he wrapped her arms in clean cloth, something caught. His eye, a symbol, etched beneath her collarbone. Faint, glowing lines. Not a tattoo. A code. Ancient. He scanned it with his wrist chip. The results blinked red. Classified, ancestral bloodline, exiled royalty. He stared. She's not just a girl, he whispered. She's the ship jolted. Red light flashed, tracking signal detected. He jumped into the cockpit. The radar pulsed fast and close. Someone had tagged the ship. Back on Outpost 9. Someone must have slipped a beacon onto his hull. Now bounty hunters would follow, and she wasn't. Just worth credits. She was worth a war. Jace powered the shields and began evasive flight. The ship dodged between asteroid paths, lights flickering, engine whining. Behind him. She spoke again, weak, but stronger than before. Why did you come for me? He looked over his shoulder. You remember the child you saved? Her eyes blinked slowly. You were that boy? He nodded. I owed you everything. She smiled, a small one. The first in days, but her voice was still heavy. I thought humans forgot. Not all of us, he said. Not the ones who lived. Then, she said something strange. They chained me. But the chains weren't just rope. What do you mean? He asked. She slowly pulled up her sleeve. Tiny metal shards were embedded under her skin. Glowing red, pulsing. Control chains, she whispered. Once they mark you, they own your body, even your thoughts. Jace's jaw tightened. They used you like a puppet? She nodded. I fought it. I broke the signal. But not for long. How long before they find you again? Soon. The beeping radar screamed louder. 2 ships now. Bounty class. Arm. JACE. Turned the ship sharply and punched the thrusters. His ship wasn't made for speed. It was a patchwork of stolen parts, welded armor, and hope. But he'd escaped worse. He opened a secret panel near the co-pilot's seat. Inside was an old, scorched blaster. He handed it to her. You still remember how to shoot. She took the weapon with shaking hands. I never forgot. Outside, the hunter ships closed in. Inside, the chains beneath her skin began to glow. And in that moment, Jace saw it. Her eyes, they were changing. No longer weak, but something ancient, something the galaxy had tried to erase. She wasn't just an alien girl. She was a weapon buried under sorrow. And someone somewhere was terrified she might remember who she really was. The dust market wasn't a place. It was a maze, hidden inside a dead moon. It was made of old shipping containers, rusted domes, and narrow passageways full of smoke and secrets. People didn't go there unless they were running from something, chasing someone. Jace landed his ship quietly at Dock 17, under a cracked ceiling lit by flickering blue lights. He covered the girl with a long cloak and helped her walk. She moved slowly, still weak, but her grip on his arm was strong. The dust. Market stank of oil, sweat, and fear. Traders shouted in alien languages. Children with gas masks begged for coins. Broken androids crawled along the walls like bugs. And somewhere in this chaos, bounty hunters waited. Jace led her toward a black tent hidden behind stacked crates. Inside was a smuggler named Voro, part reptile, part machine. Voro had no loyalty to anyone, but he had something rare, an access pass to a secret jump gate. One that could take them far from this sector in seconds. Jace, Voro hissed, eyeing the cloaked girl. You brought her here? Are you out of your mind? I need that gate pass. Now. Voro laughed. You know what she's worth? Half the galaxy wants her dead, and the other half wants her chained. She saved me once, Jace said coldly. Now I'm returning the favor. Voro leaned closer. Then you're about to die for nothing. The girl pulled back her hood. Everyone in the tent froze. Her silver skin shimmered under the low lights. Her violet eyes were glowing, faint but real. She looked like something from a forgotten legend, regal, tired, and ready. I'm not a pet, she said. I'm not a bounty. Voro looked afraid for the first time. You carry the mark of the blood oath, he whispered. Only royal houses bear that. She nodded. And they tried to bury it, burn it off me. But it stayed. Voro turned to Jace. The pass will cost more now. How much? Your ship. Jace didn't blink. Take it. The trade was done fast. Too fast. As Jace and the girl turned to leave, a tall shadow blocked their path. A woman stood there, armor black, eyes hidden behind a war visor, plasma gun in hand. Behind her were 3 more bounty hunters. Too late, lovers, she said. You led us right to her. Jace pushed the girl behind him. You're outnumbered, he said, bluffing. The bounty hunter smiled. So are you. Alarms rang out. Outside, people screamed. 2 more hunter ships landed. Dock 17 was turning into a trap. Run, Jace said. They burst through the back of the tent, racing down a side alley. The girl stumbled, but didn't fall. Her legs remembered the rhythm of running, even after days in chains. Lasers blasted behind them, missing by inches. They ducked under hanging cables, leaped over crates, and crashed through a broken wall into an old hangar. Jace sealed the doors behind them. In the center of the hangar was something unexpected. A junked ship, round, scarred, half buried under tarp and sand. But alive. The girl touched its hull. It's not dead, she said. It's a wreck, Jace replied. No, it's sleeping. She placed her hand on a strange mark on the side, a mark glowing, the same color as the one on her chest. The ship groaned. And then it opened. Jace stared in shock. How? She knows me, the girl whispered. She's from my people, a royal guardian class. Only Bloodsworn can wake her. More blasts echoed outside. The hangar door shook. Jace jumped in, helping her to the pilot's seat. Can you fly it? I was born inside one like this. The controls lit up. Old lights came back to life. The engine hummed like a sleeping beast waking up. Outside, the bounty hunters began cutting through the door. Jace strapped himself in. Let's see if this thing still roars. The ship blasted upward with a thunder that shook the whole bay. Metal rained from above as they shot through the roof and vanished into the stars. As the stars stretched in front of them, Jace turned to her. You just activated a warship that's been sleeping for a century. She looked at him calmly. And now they'll know I'm awake too. The stars above were quiet, but Jace's heart wasn't. The stolen warship flew in complete silence, guided by the alien girl's touch. She sat at the front, her eyes glowing, her hand resting on the ancient crystal embedded in the console. The ship responded to her like a living creature. Obeying only her, she hadn't spoken for hours. Not after she said, Take me to the ice planet. Jace didn't ask questions, but now, as the ship approached a distant moon covered in white frost and violet sky, he broke the silence. Where are we going? My home, she said. Your home, the one that hung you on a pole? She didn't look at him. Not all of them wanted that. Only my mother. Jace raised an eyebrow. Your mother? She finally turned to him. She's the queen. The ship landed in silence. No guards, no alarms, just snow, mountains, and a glowing palace buried inside a frozen crater. As they walked through the entrance, the palace lights turned on by themselves. The halls were high, made of crystal and steel. Paintings covered the walls, alien warriors, ancient ships, royal crowns, and in the center chamber sat the queen. Her skin was pale silver, her eyes sharp like knives. She wore a crown that didn't sparkle, it burned. Cold and quiet. She didn't rise when she saw them. You shouldn't have come back, the queen said. The girl didn't bow. She didn't flinch. She just stared. Back. I didn't come to beg, she said. I came to finish this. The queen's eyes shifted to Jace. A human, she said with disgust. You've fallen farther than I thought. He's not the reason I left, the girl replied. You are. Because I wouldn't let you bond with prey? No, she said. Because you lied to me about what I am. The room went still. Jace watched the queen carefully. Her face was like ice, but her fingers twitched slightly on the throne. What exactly did she lie about? Jace asked. The girl took a breath. My mother told the Empire I was unfit to rule, she said. She said I was born without the bloodline, that I was a weak mix, that I'd never awaken a guardian ship. Jace stared at her. But you did awaken one, the girl nodded. Which means I do have the blood. Stronger than anyone thought. The queen rose from her seat, her voice cold and sharp. You bonded with a human. That alone makes your bloodline impure. No, the girl snapped. It proves it's stronger than yours. Strong enough to cross the line your rules were afraid of. Her chest glowed. The mark burned through her skin bright gold. Then, a second glow appeared, on Jace's chest, faint, but matching hers. The queen stepped back. You formed a dual bond? She whispered. Jace looked confused. What's that? The queen's face cracked, fear now showing. It's the oldest myth of our kind. When two souls connect so deeply that even their ancestors respond. The bond was thought to be impossible, lost. The girl stood taller now. It wasn't lost, you erased it. You were afraid of it. The queen's guards entered the room silent and unsure, but no one moved, because something else was happening. The palace began to shift. Lights flickered. Crystals shook. The paintings on the wall glowed. Then a voice echoed through the hall, not from speakers, but from the palace itself. Bloodsworn have returned. The line is not broken. Everyone froze, even the queen. What is this? Jace whispered. This palace, the girl said, was built by our ancestors. It's alive. It only answers to those with true royal blood. The queen turned, her voice shaking. This changes nothing. Yes, the girl replied, stepping closer. It changes everything. The queen raised a dagger from her throne. If I cannot rule with fear, she said, eyes burning, then I'll rule with silence. She ran forward, but Jace moved faster. He caught her wrist midair, and the mark on his chest flared, so bright it threw the queen back to the ground. Everyone stared, not at the queen anymore, but at him. Not because he was human. But because he just stopped the queen with the power of the blood itself. And now, he wasn't just her protector. He was part of the royal line. The wind howled across the frozen plains. Jace and the girl walked in silence, leaving the palace behind. The queen didn't stop them. She didn't speak. After the throne itself recognized the girl and the bond she shared with a human, Queen had nothing left to say. But something else had started. A change. The glow on their chests hadn't faded. If anything, it was growing brighter. They reached a mountain temple buried in snow. The doors opened without touch. Warm orange light poured out from inside, dancing like fire across the ancient stone. "This place is sacred," the girl said softly. "No bloodline dares step here unless they are ready to learn the truth." "Truth about what?" Jace asked. "Us." Inside, flames flickered along walls covered in alien carvings, circles, stars, two figures joined by light. The air felt thick, heavy with memory. At the center stood a stone altar, carved into the shape of a flame. The girl stepped forward and removed the cloak from her shoulders. "Here," she said, pointing to the glowing mark just beneath her collarbone. "This is not a wound, not a brand, it's a living seal. And it's waking up." As Jace approached, the same golden glow pulsed beneath his shirt. His heart raced. The altar responded. Fire lifted into the air, but it didn't burn. It danced, in the shape of two hands, then wrapped around both of them like a ribbon of light. Then a voice. Soft, ancient. "The line is restored. The flame is shared. Bloodsworn are reborn." Jace looked around. "Who said that?" The girl's voice trembled. "The flame speaks only to the chosen." "What does it mean, bloodsworn?" She looked at him. Really looked. "In my people's oldest records," she said, "a bond formed between two who weren't meant to be together. One from the stars, one from the soil. The bond didn't just defy the rules, it rewrote them. It made something new." Jace stared at her, silent. "You and I," she said, "are not just allies, not just lovers. This," she placed her hand on her mark, "is a living connection, one that cannot be forced. It can only awaken when the soul recognizes its mirror." The altar glowed even brighter. Suddenly, a burst of flame rose between them, and inside it appeared a vision, a memory. Of her, as a child, watching her people burn a city. Watching as a young human boy hid beneath broken stone. Her tiny hands reached out, carried him through fire. Jace gasped. "That's me," she nodded. "It's always been you." Then another voice, this one louder, electronic, and full of panic. Multiple ships approaching, fast. The temple shook. The image vanished. The flame went cold. Jace grabbed her hand. "We're out of time." They ran back to the ship parked at the base of the mountain. Lights flashed red. Scanners blinked. 12 enemy vessels. The tracker, the one hidden back in the dust, market, was never removed. Jace cursed. "They followed us all the way here." The girl didn't panic. Instead, she walked to the front of the ship. She touched the glowing panel with both hands. Her voice was calm, but heavy. "If they want to see fire," she said, "let's show them what royalty means." As the ship lifted into the sky, something changed. The wings extended. The underbelly of the vessel opened, revealing weapons no one had used for a century. Symbols across the hull lit up. The mark on Jace's chest flared, and the ship's targeting system synced with his heartbeat. Now, they were no longer flying the ship. They were writing a legacy. Inside one of the enemy ships, a commander shouted, "That's not just a royal vessel, it's the bonfire. The last ship built to protect Bloodsworn." Another voice screamed, "That ship's power was sealed. It should be dead." But the bonfire came alive with golden light, and inside it a human and an alien girl stood side by side. Together, bound by fire. The stars spun behind them. 12 ships had chased them. 12 were gone. The bonfire, the ancient royal vessel, did not fight with speed or brute force. It fought with memory, with legacy, and with fire that followed their bond. Now the sky was quiet again, but Jace couldn't rest. He stood at the edge of the cockpit, watching the scanners, his jaw tight. His hands still glowed faintly, pulsing with the same golden light as the girl behind him. She sat quietly, Knees pulled to her chest. She hadn't spoken since the battle ended. He turned to her. "You okay?" She nodded slowly. "I just didn't expect it to wake up that much power, not all at once." Jace gave a soft smile. Neither did they. They docked inside an asteroid station, hidden behind a debris field. It was run by humans, fighters, smugglers, ghosts from old wars, and one of them was someone Jace trusted more than most. A woman named Talon. She wore a leather jacket, her brown hair tied back in a simple braid. Her handshake was firm, her eyes sharp. Years ago, she'd pulled Jace out of a burning ship during a raid. Since then, they were more than friends. Family. Jace. He brought the girl inside the station. "Keep her safe," he told Talon. "We just need fuel and a quiet exit route." Talon studied the alien girl. "So, this is the one they're all chasing?" "Yes," Jace said. "And you bonded with her?" He hesitated, then nodded. "It wasn't something we planned." Talon looked between them, then nodded slowly. "All right. You're safe here." That night, the girl sat alone in a quiet chamber. The room had no windows, just old metal walls and flickering lights. Her mind swam with memories of her mother's throne, of the temple fire, of Jace stepping in front of a blade that wasn't meant for him. And then she heard it. Footsteps. She turned. Talon stood in the doorway. "You don't look like a threat," she said. "I'm not. You sure?" "Because the bounty on your head says otherwise." The girl stood up. "You knew what I was the moment you saw me." Talon stepped inside. "I also know what you are to him, and what he is to you." Her voice shifted. "Colder now. I've fought in 3 wars, alien girl. Watched humans bleed while your kind ruled the skies. Now you want me to believe that you're different? That you care for him?" "I saved him before I ever loved him," the girl whispered. "And I'd do it again." Talon tilted her head. "You'll get the chance." She stepped back, and that's when the girl saw it, the red light, blinking faintly on Talon's jacket. Collar, a tracker, a live broadcast. Talon had led them here, back in the control room. Jace froze as red warnings lit up across the screen. Incoming signals. Multiple ships, locked on coordinates. Slammed his fist against the console. No, how? Then he saw the security feed. Talin. Standing across from the alien girl, hand on her gun. Jace didn't think. He ran. He burst into the chamber just as Talon raised her pistol. "Step away from her," he shouted. Talon turned. Startled. "Jace, listen to me. She's not what you think." "No," he said. "You're not what I thought." He looked at the alien girl, her violet eyes wide with pain. "You trusted her," she whispered. "I did." Jace stepped between them. "You knew what they'd do if they found her," he told Talon. "You knew they'd tear her apart." "They'll tear you apart too," Talon shouted. "They don't care if you're human. You bonded with a royal. That makes you a threat to every side." "I don't care," he said quietly. "Because she's not just someone I saved." He turned to. "Look at the girl. She's someone I'd burn whole galaxies for." A shot rang out, but not from Talin. From behind her. One of her own lieutenants, seeing the truth, had fired. Talon dropped. Stunned but alive, Jace grabbed the girl's hand. "We're leaving, now." As they ran toward the ship, the girl whispered, "You'd burn galaxies for me?" He looked at her. "No," he said. "We'd burn them together." The bonfire shot through space like a comet of gold. Behind them. Betrayal still echoed. Ahead. War waited. Across the systems. News spread fast. The Bloodsworn have returned. Whispers turned into storms. Armies changed course. And on both sides human and alien leaders prepared for something they hadn't seen in 1,000 years. 2 souls, bound by a forgotten law, now flying inside the galaxy's last living royal warship. Jace sat in the cockpit, staring at the stars. He looked tired. Not because of fear, because of what this meant. He never wanted to be a symbol. Never wanted to carry a legacy. But now, he was half of one. Behind him, she stood silently, her silver skin glowing under the ship's soft light, the golden mark on her chest burning brighter than ever. I can feel them watching, she said. Every system, every eye. He nodded. Good. She turned. Why? Because we're not hiding anymore. They reached neutral space, the halo ring, a floating ring world made from metal, ice, and memory. Here, the galaxy's oldest. Peace treaties were signed. And now, a new message had called both sides here, a message only the Bloodsworn could send. Dozens of ships surrounded the platform as the bonfire landed, some alien, some human, all armed. None fired. Jason, the girls stepped onto the platform together. No guards. No weapons. Just truth. From the alien fleet, a High Lord stepped forward. From the human ships, a Terran general. They stood across from Jason the girl. We should kill you, the alien said coldly. You broke ancient law, said the general. You were enemies, the alien added. You crossed bloodlines, the general echoed. Jace said nothing. He just stepped closer and held out his hand, and the girl took it. The golden mark between them pulsed, rising into the air like a beam of light. I was a soldier, Jace said. She was born a ruler. I was taught to hate, the girl added. He was taught to run. But we met in fire, he said, and we rose from it, she finished. Suddenly, the bonfire ship behind them lifted into the air. It hovered silently, then projected an image into the sky, a memory of their first meeting, of the day she saved him as a child, of the chains, of the betrayal, of the choice to stand together when no one else would. The crowd watched in silence. The general's voice cracked. That bond, it wasn't forced? No, Jace said. It was earned. Then, a voice from the crowd, young, unsure. What do you want from us? Jace looked up. Not power. The girl stepped forward. Not control. We want choice, Jace said. For every soul who's told they can't love across lines. For every child who's punished for kindness. For every world that forgot how to listen. The alien High Lord laughed bitterly. You think love can erase war? No, the girl replied. But it can end the reason for starting one. Suddenly, the platform began to shake. Everyone turned. The bonfire rose higher, and then released a pulse, not a weapon, a signal. It carried across every channel. Human, alien, outlaw, noble, a broadcast of their bond, proof that it was real, proof that it was alive, proof that it was possible. Final twist, ships began to lower. Weapons. Not by command. By choice. An alien soldier dropped his rifle. A human pilot removed her combat visor. One by one, the walls between species cracked, because what stood before them wasn't a threat. It was hope. As the light faded, Jace turned to the girl and whispered, You think they'll follow us? She smiled. No, but they'll remember us. And somewhere in the crowd, two hands, one silver, one human, reached out and held each other. Because change doesn't come from fire alone. It begins with a choice.